A lot of players that are new to Pathfinder 2e don't even realize that the point out action exists. So, for today's teamwork build, I'm building around that, recall knowledge, and perception. Let's dive in. So first, let's talk about point out. For one action, if a creature is undetected by one or more of your allies, but not undetected by you, you can gesture toward that enemy. That creature becomes hidden to our allies instead of undetected. But allies have to be able to see you and be in a position where they could see the target. In addition, they also have to be able to hear and understand you. If they can't hear or understand you, they must make a perception check against the target's stealth DC, or they misunderstand you and think the target is in a different location. For today's class, if you saw the title in the thumbnail, you know we're building a ranger. And we're gonna go with the Flurry Hunter's Edge here. So against our hunted prey, our multiple attack penalty for our second attack is -3 instead of -5, and -6 on our third or subsequent attacks instead of -10. Then for our ancestry, we're gonna go half elf. And for the background, I went with Deputy for the experienced tracker skill feats. Our starting stats for this build should be Strength 10, Dexterity 18, Constitution 12, Intelligence 10, Wisdom 16, and Charisma 12. Obviously, we need our Wisdom to be high because we're building off Perception, but there's another reason too. And we need our Dexterity to be high so we can effectively use our bow. For our first class feat, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are going to take Hunted Shots. Normally I don't like taking feats like Hunted Shot because when people take feats like that, they have a tendency to over-attack, which is not something that you should do with this build. However, for this particular build, we will want to take it. The main reason is so that we can take advantage of our Hunter's Edge. But we won't want to attack on our third action. Instead, we'll want to do the other things that this build can do. For our ancestry feat at this level, we're going to be taking Natural Ambition, which will give us another first level ranger feat. So we'll pick up Monster Hunter. So when we hunt prey, we can recall knowledge as part of that action. And if we critically succeed on the recall knowledge check, then us and all of our allies gain a +1 circumstance bonus to the next attack roll that each one makes before the end of our next turn. But we only gain these bonuses once per day against a particular creature. Next up, for level 2, we're going to take Monster Warden. So when we grant bonuses from Monster Hunter, we also grant a +1 circumstance bonus to the next saving throw each person makes against that enemy, as well as a +1 to AC against that creature's next attack against them. So now we got extra offense and defense whenever we critically succeed at recall knowledge. And of course, like all my videos, we will be taking the free archetype, and believe it or not, our first dedication is going to be the Inventor dedication. So we become trained in crafting and Inventor class DC. We also gain the Inventor skill feat, even though we don't meet the prerequisites. We also get to pick an innovation, and we're going to go with the Weapon Innovation for our bow. We don't get anything else from the dedication, but we will be taking other Inventor feats that'll give us some of that, so don't worry. At level 3, it's time to talk about general feats. You can take these in any order you want, but you will need to take Ancestral Paragon for cooperative nature before level 9. The other feats you should take are the 3 feats I always take, which are Toughness, Die Hard, and Canny Acumen for our will saves. And then we'll want to take True Perception at level 19. At level 4, it's time for Scout's Warning. As a free action, if we're about to roll Perception or Survival for initiative, we can give all of our allies a +1 bonus on their initiative rolls. Of course, this will give our allies a better chance of going before the enemy during combat. And then of course we'll pick up Prototype Companion. This will give us exactly that, a Prototype Construct Companion. We do need the Weapon Innovation for a feat we're going to take later, but we also want a companion to protect us and to help allies flank. I thought it'd be pretty cool in this build to have a Construct Companion instead of going the full Animal Companion route from Ranger. Plus, we really don't have a whole lot of room in this build for a bunch of animal companion feats. So we'll be taking it on this side, because we are an inventor too, after all. Then for our ability score increases at level 5, we want to increase our dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and wisdom. I know I usually go through the ability score increases for 10 and 15 here too, but we're going to be taking different ability score increases at those levels. So I'll talk about those then. For our ancestry feat, we're going to go with Nimble Elf for a little more speed. Okay, at level 6, it's time for Additional Recollection. As a free action, when we succeed or critically succeed on a Recall Knowledge check on our hunted prey, we can immediately attempt a Recall Knowledge check against a different creature on the battlefield. So now we get Hunt Prey, Recall Knowledge, and if we succeed or critically succeed on the Recall Knowledge check from Hunt Prey, we get another Recall Knowledge action for free. And all this for a single action, which in my opinion is completely nuts. Then it's Searing Restoration. For one action, us or a living creature adjacent to us regains 1d10 hit points. In addition, the target can make a flat check to recover from a single source of persistent bleed damage with a DC reduction from appropriate assistance. At 3rd level, and every 3 levels after, increase the healing by 1d10. At level 8, it's time for us to take Blind Fight. We no longer need to succeed the flat check to target concealed creatures. We are also not flat-footed to hidden creatures unless we are flat-footed to that creature from some reason other than the hidden condition. We also only need to succeed at a DC 5 flat check to target a hidden creature. In addition, if we are adjacent to an undetected creature of our level or lower, that creature is only hidden to us. Then on the free archetype side of this level, we'll take Basic Modification. And the modification we want to pick up is Modular Head. So the arrows on our bow now have the modular trait for bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So now when we run into those skeletons, we can immediately switch over to bludgeoning arrows. For level 10, our first feat is going to be Master Monster Hunter. We can now use nature to recall knowledge when identifying any creature. We also gain the benefits of our Monster Hunter and Monster Warden feats on a success rather than just on a critical success. Then we'll pick up Advanced Construct Companion. This will make our Construct Companion a little beefier. But what's most important here is that our Construct Companion gets an action even if we don't command it. It can only stride or strike since we're not commanding it, but at least it gets an action no matter what. For today's first teamwork report, the first thing you should do when you enter a room is always use that perception skill of yours. You're looking for hidden anything. Doors, items, creatures, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anything you find is going to help the party in some way. Any area you're in, be seeking, because you never know when creatures are going to be trying to sneak up on you. And when you find creatures, you should be pointing them out to your allies, especially the undetected ones to them. That gives them at least a chance of hitting those enemies with damage. Other than that, you should be focusing on recall knowledge and hitting foes with that bow of yours, since you are going to be very accurate with that thing. With this build, you are the party's eyes and brain, plain and simple. Especially since our wisdom will be high, you are also obviously going to want to use finesse weapons when you're in melee combat, as we won't be upping our strength at all. Also, I did forget about the ancestry feat for level 9. We want to take Cooperative Soul. This will give us something we can do during the rounds that we don't recall knowledge, as we get a success no matter what now, except if we happen to get a critical success. This is why we need to take Ancestral Paragon for cooperative nature before level 9. Moving on to level 12. For our first feat, I've gone with Distracting Shot. With this feat, if we critically hit our hunted prey, or we hit them with 2 shots in the same turn, then that enemy is flat-footed until the start of our next turn. That's flat-footed to everyone, not just us. As a Flurry Ranger, and especially with hunted shots, we're going to hit twice in the same turn a lot. And even if we don't, we stand a pretty good chance of getting a critical hit as well, especially against lower level enemies. So we're going to get this flat-footed condition a lot, which is really going to help other martials in our party. Now it's time for the main reason that we took the Inventor archetype, and that is visual fidelity. We gain dark vision and low light vision. We also see invisible creatures as translucent shapes, making them concealed. Also, if an effect would give you the blinded condition, the effect must make a counteract check against our class DC, with a counteract level equal to half our level rounded up. On a failure, we aren't blinded. At level 13, it's time to take Elf Step. This allows us to step 5 feet twice for one action. Thus, we can avoid those pesky reactions caused by movement or by us using our bow. Next, for level 14, we need to take Warden's Guidance. So as long as our hunted prey is observed by us, our allies that get critical failures and failures to seek the target get successes instead. But our allies have to be able to see or hear us to gain this benefit. We also need to be able to call out or use gestures to use this. And then it's time for our second dedication for this build, which actually is my favorite dedication out of the entirety of Pathfinder 2e that I'm aware of, the Overwatch dedication. With this dedication, we gain a 30-foot emanation Overwatch field. Us and all of our allies within the field gain a +2 bonus on perception checks used for initiative. Don't worry, we're still going to need Scout's Warning for those allies that are outside of our Overwatch fields, since we'll want to be pretty far back. Alright, we're at the home stretch now, and at level 16, we're going to take Legendary Monster Hunter. Now our bonus from Monster Hunter and Monster Warden increases to +2 for both us and our allies. Then it's time for Converge. For a reaction, if we hit an enemy in our Overwatch field with a ranged attack, and an ally is within reach of that enemy and also within our Overwatch field, that ally can make a melee attack against that creature as a reaction. This strike doesn't count toward map and doesn't contribute to it. In addition, if the ally hits, combine your ranged attack damage and their melee attack damage before adding weaknesses and resistances. At level 17, it's time for our last ancestry feat, and I've gone with Heroic Presence. This feat allows us to cast Zealous Conviction on up to 10 allies within 30 feet, allowing us to give them temporary hit points and a bonus on will saves. The spell automatically ends for a target if you tell them to do something that they would find repugnant. This gains the auditory or visual trait depending on how you inspire your allies. You can use this feat once per day. Moving on to level 18, it's time for Greater Distracting Shot. Now we can make our hunted prey flat-footed until the start of our next turn if we hit it at all. In addition, if we critically hit or hit it twice in the same turn, it's flat-footed until the end of our next turn. Meaning, we can take advantage of it even more if we critically hit or we hit it twice. But this feat also makes it a lot easier to get flat-footed on the target for our allies. As now, all we have to do is hit once to get that. For the free archetype, I've gone with Control Tower. Now, we and all of our allies within our Overwatch field gain a +2 bonus to seek hidden or undetected creatures that are also within our Overwatch field. Us and our allies do not need to make the flat check to target concealed creatures within our Overwatch field either. The DC of the flat check to target hidden creatures is reduced to 5 for both us and our allies. This is mainly for our allies because we already get a lot of this. For level 20, I've gone with Superior Sight. So first, we gain a +2 bonus on perception checks. Secondly, we automatically succeed on the flat check to target hidden, concealed, or undetected creatures. And our last feat for this build is going to be Forewarn. Once per minute, as a reaction, if an enemy within your Overwatch field attempts to attack an ally who is also within your Overwatch field, you can have that attack target your perception DC instead of the ally's AC. Thus, the ally can avoid penalties to AC. However, this does not remove the conditions causing those penalties. So an enemy with sneak attack would still get their sneak attack if they hit, even though the ally isn't taking the -2 to AC. Okay, for the second team report, the first thing I want to mention is that blind fight combined with visual fidelity means we can target invisible creatures normally, and we don't have to make the flat check to target them even though they're concealed. And our allies can do something similar with Control Tower. With Warden's Guidance, our allies will always get a success, at least, to seek out creatures that we've hunted, assuming they're completely observed to us. And with our legendary perception, it's going to be very hard for enemies to avoid detection. And of course, once we hit an invisible enemy with an arrow, there's going to be an arrow sticking out of them, making it that much easier for our allies to find them. Plus, remember the bow's critical specialization effect. If we hit, the target is stuck to a wall or the ground, making their invisibility or hiding completely pointless. And we also have even more reason to recall knowledge now as part of our hunt prey, because now our allies get a +2 to their offense and defense if we succeed. With this build, it is very important to figure out what enemy you want to hunt. Remember, most of our stuff that applies to our allies only applies against our hunted prey. Yes, picking which creature we're going to hunt is very important for this build. Alright guys, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, ding that bell, stay caught up on all your stuff. You can also get Google Sheets for this and a bunch of other 2E builds on the Patreon page. Link is in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, teamwork is vital.